Make no mistake, things are heating up very, very quickly in this leadership contest. And there is no more indication of how things are quickly starting to heat up than the reaction of what, well, has been the right wing of the party's reaction to Penny Mordaunt, which I have stressed is incredibly strange. Because imagine this. You have Liz Truss, who for all intents and purposes is very much a political chameleon, who started off as a Lib Dem anti-monarchist, but has now morphed into Liz Truss, the super hard right Brexiteer Thatcherite clone. Trust me, it's very much an insane transformation to go from that to where she is now. But it just goes and really goes to show you just how much of a political opportunist Liz Truss really, really is. But then Penny Mordaunt, why aren't they supporting her? This is why I say it's so strange. Penny Mordaunt, right from the get-go, has been a solid conservative. Very, very sort of pro-Thatcher, very, very sort of pro those neoliberal policies of Thatcher as well. A hardened Brexiteer since the very, very beginning, being even involved in the Leave campaign as well, compared to, of course, Liz Truss, who was an ardent Remainer. Why on earth are they not supporting her? Well, I think this race is about the ERG finally, I think, taking control of the party. But before we get into that, please do remember to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a notification link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can, well, buy me a coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help support the channel that way. And of course, there is the YouTube thank you button. And of course, the YouTube subscription button, where if you subscribe to that, you get all sorts of little bells, whistles, and what's not that you can use on YouTube. So this is really it. I think this is what this contest is boiling down to. It is the ERG finally trying to take control of the Conservative Party. But I hear you say, wasn't Boris put in there by the ERG to, well, take control of the party? Not really. Boris was not an ERG man. He did not essentially do what they wanted him to do, which was to go full right-wing libertarian, just rip up any deals we had with the EU, just almost pull up the metaphorical anchor and just sail off somewhere, sail the entire UK off into the Pacific somewhere. That's what the ERG's fantasy plans really are. And I think they finally realized that if they are to ever get their grand project any further than they are now, they have to be not just a seat at the table, they have to be at the head of the table. This is why I think, a couple of days ago I said, why are there so many ERG candidates? They're almost cannibalizing each other's votes. They're sort of splitting that right-wing vote three ways. And it was really, really odd to see, because they were all being backed as well by very prominent, ERGers. You had Suella Braverman, backed by Steve Baker. Kemi Badenoch is backed by Michael Gove. And of course, you've got Liz Truss, who has become very much the ERG's #1 candidate, and at least the right wing of the party's candidate of choice. Even the Daily Mail has come out and anointed her as the preferred candidate of choice for them. So it is very, very worrying where they've got their one big real chance to get their leader in, to get them installed, not only at the head of the table, but then that leader can start installing their, shall we say, fellow ERG members to key seats at the table. And with that done, they can really start to go and fulfill their right-wing fantasy projects. During Boris's tenure, we've had several big arguments of George Eustice butting heads. The head of the minister in charge of DEFRA, butting heads not only with Liz Truss, Michael Gove, but several other members of the cabinet, trying to say, hey, you promised all these things for agriculture and that the fishing would thrive, but you're not delivering on these promises. But of course, George Eustice wasn't an ERGer. Neither, of course, was Rishi Sunak, who again was not doing the type of economics that they want to do. So certainly a Liz Truss cabinet is going to be very, very interesting. And today they've gone on the attack as well, because David Frost not only yesterday went on LBC and delivered some comments attacking Penny Mordaunt, but he also wrote a column in today's Times urging Kemi Badenoch, the other ERG candidate, to drop out of the race to start backing Liz Truss. So we'll just go over what he said in the Daily Telegraph today. So Frost said this, that Kemi and Suella Braverman set out convincing programs with different emphasis for change. But Liz's depth of experience, her energy and ideas, I'd have to say what ideas, as well as the simple fact that she has the most votes of the three, put her in the lead. Now is a time for pragmatism, and I urge Kemi to stand down in return for a serious job in Truss's administration. So that is what we have seen here. And of course, I think the puppet master behind Badenoch really is Gove. I really think that's why he is backing her. He has put her there to be essentially the puppet master of this potential candidate. And remember, her response so far has been that she is in it to win it. She is not dropping out of this race. The only way she's dropping out is if she gets the least amount of votes. And of course, his attacks on Penny Mordaunt recently as well on LBC, in which he said this. We can't just elect somebody because of a short period of time. They may look better than the others, but what we're actually electing is not, in a way, a popularity contest. We're electing someone who has to govern for probably 2 years with a huge set of crises. So that was him really going after sort of Penny Mordaunt, sitting out the stage of, look, we've got all these crises coming, and I agree with him. And I've said if Truss doesn't get in, she's going to cause, probably on the backbenches herself, probably along with Boris, some serious problems. Because I'll tell you now, Truss is not very well regarded in the parliamentary party. If Mordaunt gets in, there is probably a good chance Liz and probably the rest of the Brexiteers, and certainly most of the ERG members, get consigned to the backbenches, which, while they can cause problems, they will not be able to have, shall we say, their hands on the steering wheel, directing the party and even in the country to try to drive in even more hard right policies. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Frost's comments are heard by certainly Badenoch, and whether Badenoch and whether these sort of comments will damage Penny Mordaunt, we don't know. But this is one thing we're going to have to wait and see. But if she does manage to get all these sort of 3 dropout vote secures, as Braverman has now signed up with Truss, I wouldn't be surprised if Badenoch does also as well, if she drops out. But we could definitely see a Sunak-Truss final 2. As I've said many, many times, if Truss gets to the final 2, she walks it. It is essentially, at that point, hers to win. But it also depends how these debates go tonight as well. So we're going to be watching what happens there very closely indeed. So if you want to follow the fallout maybe of those debates or discussion of what happened, I will be live streaming tomorrow at the Good Morning Walk. So we'll see you all there. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit your like, share, and subscribe button on the way out. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, my one-off donation called Buy Me Coffee. And of course, thank you very much to everyone for watching, and we'll see you all next time.